We welcome you to Chaska High School Girls Lacrosse on the air here on CHBN. Hi, everybody. Along with Brett Johnson, I'm Patrick Lulia. Pleasure to be with you on this beautiful spring afternoon. Mix of clouds and sun, temperatures in the mid-50s. Great day for some lacrosse as the Hawks will look for their first victory of the season, coming off a very tough loss on Thursday against Benilde St. Margaret's by an 18-2 final score. Today they host the Shakopee Sabres. The Sabres playing their first game of the season. Sabres being introduced now. Action here on CHBN brought to you by the Bob Pike Group. The Bob Pike Group. Bob Pike Group helps trainers teach twice as much in half the time using creative training techniques. Get help bringing your classroom online with e-learning and virtual training. People are working from home, but training continues. Experience how virtual training can be just as engaging and effective as classroom training when it is participant-centered. Jump onto any of our free one-hour webinars to experience the difference in action or listen into one of our 325 podcasts on creative training techniques. Or take your virtual session to the next level and with one of our workshops on topics like virtual presentation skills, how to quickly convert classroom teaching to live online instructional design, or Train the Trainer boot camp. That's the Bob Pike Group at bobpikegroup.com, sponsoring action here on CHBN today. We're going to take a break, come back with opening face-off. You're watching Chaska Girls Lacrosse on CHBN.
The Bob Pike Group explains creative training techniques. Meet Kim, a corporate trainer. She constantly feels pressure to cover more content in less time. Her participants rarely get a chance to apply what they learned and aren't involved in the module. Most of what's taught is not caught, and Kim's team is slow to change. Lucky for Kim, the Bob Pike Group can help make her training participant-centered. They model creative training techniques that increase buy-in and engagement. This participant-centered approach helps Kim move away from lecture and focus on group interaction and learning activities. Following this method is the best way for adult learners to retain knowledge, leading to fewer costly errors, injuries at work, and reduced training time. Experience participant-centered training as it's modeled to you at the Bob Pike Group and change the way you train forever.
The flag at the north end of the
Back here at Chaska High School, we are ready for action. Second game of the season for the Hawks. They look to rebound from a tough loss against the Benilde St. Margaret's Red Knights. First game of the season for Shakopee. Sun peeking through a little bit more as we get set for the opening face-off. Brought to you by the Bob Pike Group. Check them out at thebobpikegroup.com. Thanks for joining us this afternoon on CHBN. I'm Patrick Lilia once again alongside Brett Johnson. Teams finishing up their pregame huddles. To imagine in the pregame, perfect day for Lacrosse. Temperatures in the mid-50s. That mix of clouds and sun, you see a little more sun right now than we had earlier on in the pregame when we went on air. My friend was saying last night when I told her I was going to be out here doing this game, well, put some sunscreen on. It's getting close to that time of year as well. We're in the press box, so no sunscreen needed today for those of us indoors, as the teams have now broken their huddles. It's Megan Jareel taking her spot in goal for the Hawks. Allison Parker in goal for the Sabres. Parker just a freshman. The opening face-off at midfield, Erica Gerard for the Sabres. Alongside Kennedy Sanders for the Hawks at the Hawks logo. And we are underway with the opening face-off, flipped into the Hawks zone. Scooped up by the Sabres. Now they will try to work it along the far side where it's taken away by Sanders. Sanders working her way as then she spins her way out of some near contact. Lexi Prawl, Rachel Schwab for the Sabres is able to be flipped across midfield. Just underway, 24 minutes, 30 seconds to play in the first half. The Hawks work it into the offensive zone with Sanders. Sanders reverses, starts her way toward the net, spins, lost the ball, but contact was made. She was trying to work her way around Kenzie Batchelor. Sanders with the ball. Sanders off the whistle, drives toward the net. A shot that goes saved by Parker. Turnaround shot goes just wide of the net off the rebound. It'll go beyond the back line. Well, the Hawks with a good early opportunity. Save was made by Parker on the shot from Sanders. Minute and a half into the game, no score. We'll have a little delay as we get the chance to retrieve the ball. Action, of course, once again this afternoon on CHBN, brought to you by the Bob Pike Group. Check them out at bobpikegroup.com. Creative training techniques, getting your classroom engaged with e-learning, virtual training. We are back underway with the Hawks possessing in the offensive zone. Jenna Davis. Davis drops it off. Sanders spins her way through. Sanders lobs it behind the net. Working her way into the front with a shot and a goal is Ella Long. It's a great setup from Sanders, and Long scores the goal for the Hawks. They lead 1-0. Approximately 2 minutes into the game. In hockey terms, that would be at the 1:58 mark of the first half. So the Hawks with the early 1-0 lead. We passed the 2-minute mark of the first half. As long as this one taken away from behind, and back up with it for Shakopee is Katie Lindquist. Lindquist then has it taken away. Sanders with it for Chaska. Sanders flips it ahead. It's a loose ball, but the Hawks able to maintain. Carried across, and speeding her way through into the offensive zone is Lacrosse. Lacrosse works her way in. Lacrosse with a shot save. That's dropped off by Parker. Sabres along the far side will gain the offensive zone. As they set up with Jessica Brooke. Brooke sets up Courtney Parker, excuse me. The Sabres will work the ball around the net. Driving her way in with a shot saved by Megan Jareel is coming out front with Lexi Prawl. Shakopee still possessing the ball as they will reset. It's Courtney Parker. Parker leaves it off along the far side. The ball is loose. Shakopee again able to maintain though with Gerard. Gerard leaves it off for Courtney Parker. Driving her way in for a shot. Save again by Jareel from Brooke. The Hawks come away with the ball along the near side. Is Van Epps. Kaylee Van Epps works her way along the near side. Able to get it ahead. Nice spin move by Aiden Hawley. Hawley flips it ahead. Shot from Sanders, saved by the goaltender Parker. It's Parker with the ball, trying to get it out of danger. Sabres able to clear. Sanders ends up with the ball back on the far side. This is lobbed ahead for Lacrosse. Lacrosse trying to drive her way in. Lacrosse still with the ball. It's Hawley. Feeds Sanders on a nice move. Sanders trying to drive toward the net, and she shot it wide. We approach the 5-minute mark of the first half. Working our way in for a shot and a goal. I believe that'll be Long's second goal of the game, and it's 2-0 Chaska. That comes at the 5:02 mark of the first half. Well, the Hawks off to a good start. We talked about a very difficult loss against Benilde St. Margaret's. Their first game of the season, the home opener for the Hawks, and they're off to a good start. It's a 2-0 lead, 19:58 to play in the first half. Face-off controlled by the Hawks. Sanders. Scooped up on the near side by Sydney Jews. Jews will lob it into the midfield. It comes free in front, and a whistle as one of the Hawks ended up tumbling to the ground. It was Long. Long off the resumption of play, driving toward the net. Shot saved by Parker. It's scooped up by Katie Lindquist for Shakopee, but she can't clear as the Hawks able to ride it back in. So we get another whistle with 18 minutes, 40 seconds to play in the first half. Sanders on her way in with a shot, and she scores. Kennedy Sanders makes it 3-0 in favor of Chaska. The Shakopee will take a timeout, and we will take a break as well. 18:34 to play in the first half. It's Chaska 3, Shakopee 0. You're watching CHBN coverage of girls lacrosse.
The Bob Pike Group explains creative training techniques. Meet Kim, a corporate trainer. She constantly feels pressure to cover more content in less time. Her participants rarely get a chance to apply what they learned and aren't involved in the module. Most of what's taught is not caught, and Kim's team is slow to change. Lucky for Kim, the Bob Pike Group can help make her training participant-centered. They model creative training techniques that increase buy-in and engagement. This participant-centered approach helps Kim move away from lecture and focus on group interaction and learning activities. Following this method is the best way for adult learners to retain knowledge, leading to fewer costly errors, injuries at work, and reduced training time. Experience participant-centered training as it's modeled to you at the Bob Pike Group, and change the way you train forever.
So we welcome you back to Chaska High School. Shakopee timeout with the Hawks taking a 3-0 lead on a goal by Kennedy Sanders. Ella Long had the first 2 goals for Chaska. Important for the Hawks to get off to a fast start today, which they have. The clouds are beginning to break up a little bit more here at Chaska High School. Good crowd on hand on both sides of the field. It will come out of the timeout following the Sanders goal. The Hawks 3, the Sabres 0. 18 minutes, 34 seconds to play in the first half. So we're going to whistle off the face-off. We'll get a penalty coming against Shakopee. So that will put the Hawks a player up. Hawks quickly advance the ball into the front end of the field. Driving in front for a shot, and they score. So the Hawks quickly take advantage of the penalty, and they now lead 4-0. Well, the Hawks scored so quickly, they'll still have some time with the player up. Face-off controlled by the Hawks. Worked into the front of the field again quickly by Lacrosse. Lacrosse tries to center it as it's worked around the net by the Hawks. Lacrosse back with it. Lacrosse backs out. Sabres able to advance it and clear. Hawks nearly regained possession at midfield. The loose ball eventually scooped up by Sanders. By Hobbin. Hobbin able to play it ahead. High pass out of reach. They were trying to set up Davis on the far side of the net. Hawks still a player up. Shakopee will play it from behind their own net. Reversing direction is Filippi. Filippi then has it taken away. Working her way in front for a shot was Davis, which was saved. It comes back over for Hawley. Lacrosse with it. Lacrosse driving her way in for a shot wide of the net. As Shakopee returns to full strength. Ball loose in front of the net. It's battled for in front. Ball eventually flipped wide of the net, but the Hawks able to maintain possession. Lacrosse trying to spin her way toward the net. Takes a little shove in the back from Gerard and scores anyway. Lacrosse able to make it 5-0 Chaska. Thus far, the game thoroughly dominated by the Hawks. Virtually no offensive zone time to speak of for Shakopee. And the Hawks lead 5-0 with 15:42 to play in the first half. Face-off controlled by Courtney Parker for Shakopee. She reverses, drops it off. Ends up back for Megan Bodie. Bodie with it for Shakopee. Bodie spins her way out, works her way upfield with it. Head for Batchelor. Batchelor then has it knocked out of her pocket as it comes down toward the near side. Chaska regains possession. Quickly worked upfield with it by Juliet Traver-Kazemba. Traver-Kazemba drops it down along the near side for Sanders. Sanders able to center it for a shot by Davis, who scores. So Sanders centers for Jenna Davis, and Davis makes it 6-0 Chaska. Very strong first half performance for the Hawks. Checking into the game will be Van Epps. Checking back in for Sanders. Well, Sanders will get a break with the Hawks leading 6-0. Face-off controlled by Shakopee. Parker along the near side. Able to spin away. That's Katie Lindquist with it. Lindquist leaves it off as we get a whistle. It's Brooke off the whistle with a shot saved by Megan Jareel. We'll get another whistle. So we tick down toward the 11-minute mark of the first half. Chaska will come out with the ball. Shakopee able to turn back the Hawks, but then Batchelor has it knocked out of her pocket. So we'll get another whistle. Losing the ball is Long, and that'll allow Shakopee to clear, but then intercepted nicely, carried back in by Davis. Sabres able to work it out across midfield. Brooke with it. She'll work it down on the near side and wait for everybody to settle. Gerard through the middle. Olivia Hayer with it. Hayer trying to work through the middle, but good defense from the Hawks. The Sabres driving, and the ball sent wide of the net. We'll get a whistle. Shot saved by Jareel out front. Battled for, loose ball scooped up by Chaska. Along the near side is Haben. Haben will drop it back as the Hawks will reset behind their own net. Pass for Long out of her reach. Long is unable to catch up to it before it reaches the blue sideline or purple sideline. Gerard trying to get it ahead. It's intercepted by Haben. Haben flips it ahead for Davis. Davis along the far side. Davis working her way through the middle. Davis with a shot, and she scores. Jenna Davis with her second of the day. It's 7-0 Hawks. Well, the Hawks continuing to dominate. 10:24 to play in the first half. Davis has 2. Long has 2. Sanders has 1. Chaska controls the face-off. Carried ahead by Lacrosse. Koski weaving her way through the middle, met out front of the net. As we get a whistle. Ball went over to Shakopee as Davis controls the loose ball. Head for Reagan Pluth, but it's off of her stick, and the Sabres will be able to control with Girard. It's Hayer for Shakopee. Hayer will send it behind the Chaska net. Good defense by the Hawks to seal off the wraparound attempt. Way in front for a shot, she scores, and Shakopee is on the board. Lexi Prawl got in front. Got the nice centering pass, and it's 7-1 in favor of the Hawks with 8:55 to play in the first half. Face-off controlled by Chaska with Pluth. Pluth along the far side, able to outrun Hayer. Pluth still with it along the far side for Chaska. She's able to get it ahead for Hawley and a whistle. Hawley off the ready for play. Hawley driving toward the net, working her way in. It's Parker. Laid ahead and carried across by Olivia Hayer. Hayer trying to get it to Girard. Feed out front, they score. I think it's Rachel Schwab. Schwab just an 8th grader, and she has drawn the Sabres within 5 at 7-2 with 7:34 to play in the first half. We have credit for the goal to Brooke. Face-off controlled by the Hawks with Sanders. Sanders racing upfield with it. Sanders, nice pass. Spin shot goes just wide from Lacrosse. Lacrosse for Pluth. Pluth with a shot wide of the net. The Sabres will turn it back upfield, and then losing the ball is Hayer. As Trevor Kazemba is hemmed in down on the near side, and the ball will go over to Shakopee. Loose ball in the Shakopee end of the field. As we get a whistle as players trying to scoop it up. Shakopee quickly trying to get some transition game going. Hawks able to turn it back as they'll work it back into the Shakopee zone. Loose ball, unable to be corralled. It's still loose. We got a whistle as Hayer was going for it for Shakopee. Under 6 minutes to play in the first half. And Shakopee will quickly work it back into the attacking zone. The whistle on the drive. Sprawl on the resumption of play with a shot blocked in front. As Chaska will set up with it in their own end. Ball loose. Scooped up by Davis. Hawks into the attacking zone. The collision in front of the net. The quick shot off the resumption of play, they score. So the Hawks able to turn back that Shakopee push, and they're back up by 6 at 8-2. Lacrosse picks up the goal for the Hawks. 4:23 to play in the first half. Hawks back up by 6 at 8-2. Face-off battled for by Sanders as Katie Lindquist able to come away with it for the Sabres. Gerard. She's forced to kick it out toward the far side. Turnaround shot from Shakopee goes off the side of the net. And the loose ball goes beyond the back line. We come down toward 3.5 minutes to play in this first half. Hawks able to control from behind their own net. Loose ball scooped up by the Sabres as it's controlled by Tori Martin. Martin trying to spin her way through the middle of the field. Leaves it off for Gerard. Gerard makes a nice work with a shot, or the whistle before the shot though. Gerard will set up off the foul. Gerard scores to make it 8-3 in favor of the Hawks. .2:18 left in the first half. Back to a 5-goal game with the Hawks leading 8-3. Carried ahead by Lacrosse for the Hawks. Koski trying to get it ahead. It was knocked down, but the Hawks able to maintain possession of the ball in the offensive zone. Lacrosse with a nice move. Lacrosse left it for use. So we get a whistle before the shot. Hughes will set up once again. Hughes off the resumption of play scores. It's back to a 6-goal game at 9-3, 1:53 to play in the first half. So Sidney Jose with the goal. Face-off controlled and carried up by Lacrosse for Chaska. Lacrosse lob pass ahead. Hawks work around the net with it. It's taken away, though, by the goaltender Parker, but unable to be cleared as the Hawks right back in. A shot goes just wide of the net. 1:33 left to play in the first half. The Hawks leading at 9-3. The Hawks will get it across midfield as Ava Lorenz can't quite get it in the basket. Then losing it was Batchelor. The Hawks with it at midfield. Lorenz will advance it ahead. Under a minute to play in the first half, down to 50 seconds. Hawks work it into the middle of the field. Sanders with it. Sanders driving toward the net. She scores. Kennedy Sanders scoops up the loose ball and makes it a 7-goal game at 10-3 here late in the first half. Courtney Parker controls for Shakopee. Under 30 seconds to play in the first half. Nice job by the Hawks to take it away. Maybe one last rush as we come down to 20 seconds left in the opening half as we get a whistle. Spinning her way through the middle is Jose. Jose sends one wide of the net. The Hawks able to scoop it up on the near side. 5 seconds left in the half. Lacrosse gets it in. The quick shot, they score. If it counts as time expired in the first half. And it does. So it's a good goal for the Hawks. And that will take us to the end of the first half with the Chaska Hawks 11 and the Shakopee Sabres 3. Action today on CHBN brought to you by the Bob Pike Group, helping trainers teach twice as much in half the time using creative training techniques. Get help bringing your classroom online with e-learning and virtual training. People are working from home, but training continues. Experience how virtual training can be just as engaging and effective as classroom training when it is participant-centered. Jump onto any of our free 1-hour webinars to experience the difference in action, or listen to one of our over 325 podcasts on creative training techniques. Or take your virtual session to the next level, and with one of our workshops on topics like virtual presentation skills, how to quickly convert classroom teaching to live online, instructional design, or train the trainer boot camp. That's the Bob Pike Group. Check them out today at bobpikegroup.com. Halftime here at Chaska High School. It is the Hawks 11, the Sabres 3 after the first half. You are watching CHBN. Stay tuned.
The Bob Pike Group explains creative training techniques. Meet Kim, a corporate trainer. She constantly feels pressure to cover more content in less time. Her participants rarely get a chance to apply what they learn and aren't involved in the module. Most of what's taught is not caught, and Kim's team is slow to change. Lucky for Kim, the Bob Pike Group can help make her training participant-centered. They model creative training techniques that increase buy-in and engagement. This participant-centered approach helps Kim move away from lecture and focus on group interaction and learning activities. Following this method is the best way for adult learners to retain knowledge, leading to fewer costly errors, injuries at work, and reduced training time. Experience participant-centered training as it's modeled to you at the Bob Pike Group, and change the way you train forever. She constantly feels pressure. The Bob Pike Group explains creative training techniques. Meet Kim, a corporate trainer. She constantly feels pressure to cover more content in less time. Her participants rarely get a chance to apply what they learned and aren't involved in the module. Most of what's taught is not caught, and Kim's team is slow to change. Lucky for Kim, the Bob Pike Group can help make her training participant-centered. They model creative training techniques that increase buy-in and engagement. This participant-centered approach helps Kim move away from lecture and focus on group interaction and learning activities. Following this method is the best way for adult learners to retain knowledge, leading to fewer costly errors, injuries at work, and reduced training time. Experience participant-centered training as it's modeled to you at the Bob Pike Group, and change the way you train forever.
We welcome you back inside Chaska High School, just underway in the second half with Chaska leading 11-3. Jenna Davis quickly driving in. Davis, who scored that last second goal in the first half to put the Hawks up 8 as time expired in the opening stanza. Shakopee possessing behind their own net. Looked over toward Batchelor on the near side. Batchelor being driven backwards. Batchelor trying to lob it ahead. The ball knocked loose, but Shakopee able to maintain possession. So Bodie driven down toward the near sideline, drops it out of bounds. Brooke will reset with it for Shakopee. Brooke speeds her way upfield with Sydney Hardy in pursuit. Brooke drops it over along the near side for Prawl. Prawl met as she tried to work her way into the middle. She'll back out. Prawl trying to spin her way in front with a shot saved by Jareel as she scoops it up. Nice save by the junior goaltender, Megan Jareel. Shakopee will be able to drive it right back in. Batchelor's pass a little bit out of reach of Prawl. Second half coverage brought to you by the Bob Pike Group. Check them out at bobpikegroup.com. Thankful to have the Bob Pike Group sponsoring coverage here on CHBN this afternoon. Beautiful afternoon from Chaska. Sun has come out, but the wind has picked up a little bit as well. Temperatures in the mid-50s. The centering feed for Davis. Davis scores. Well, Davis with 2 consecutive goals for the Hawks. It's 12-3 with 22 minutes, 36 seconds left in regulation. Bukowski picking up the assist. Face-off still loose on the Hawks logo. It's eventually controlled by Shakopee as they will work it deep into the offensive zone. Parker for Shakopee with it. It's Parker. Lobs it off for Lindquist. Lindquist slowly working her way in. Lindquist thought about the shot, thought better of it, pulls back. Lindquist trying to weave her way in front, but good defensive presence by the Hawks, and she's forced to back out. Lindquist sets up, leaves off for Brooke. Brooke again, though, met by that white and purple wall. Forces the Sabres to just have to play it around the net. It's Prawl and a whistle. 3.5 minutes into the second half. The Hawks 12, the Sabres 3. Prawl. Whistle as she starts her drive, trying to get in front of the net. Prawl quickly off the foul shot, saved by Jareel. Jareel coming up with another nice save here early in the second half. Spinning out of trouble is Van Epps. Van Epps lobs it ahead. Shakopee will regain in their own end with Courtney Parker. Parker leaves off for Bodie. Shakopee quickly able to advance the ball back into the Hawks half of the field. Lindquist carry it around the net for the Sabres. Lindquist, Matt drops it off for Prawl. Again, great defense led by Ava Lorentz in front. It's Brooke for Shakopee. Brooke can't work her way around Lacrosse. Ball loose on the far side of the net as we'll get a whistle. We're just past the 5.5 minute mark of half number 2. Chaska 12, Shakopee 3. The turnover will allow the Sabres to reset. Lindquist quickly trying to work it in for Shakopee. Lindquist met in front, which will draw a whistle. Lindquist off the resumption of play. Great defense by Chaska, and that'll draw another foul. Quick shot off the resumption of play and a Shakopee goal, and that will make it 12-4. Jessica Brooke with the Shakopee goal. That's her second of the game. Face-off controlled by Kennedy Sanders. Sanders speeds into the Shakopee offensive zone. Sanders weaves her way toward the net and scores. So Kennedy Sanders takes the face-off and buries it to make it a 9-goal game once again. 13-4 as Sanders scores her third of the game. Sanders, of course, the basketball star on such a talented and highly ranked Chaska Hawks team this past season, showing off her skills now on the lacrosse field. Face off again, controlled by Sanders. Sanders again speeding in, jukes her way into the middle, drops it off for a shot that ends up going behind the net. And Sanders intercepts a clear attempt. Sanders scores. Kennedy Sanders with a fantastic effort prevents the clear and scores her second goal in a matter of about 35 seconds, and that will make it a 10-goal game, Chaska's largest lead of the game at 14-4. Face off, battled for, still loose, controlled by the Hawks as it's Pluth on the near side. So Pluth will carry it into the offensive zone. Pluth whistle as she started her weave. 17 minutes left to play. The Hawks 14 and Shakopee 4. Quick shot off the face-off. It's battled for in front as we get a whistle. As Parker made the save. Parker driven behind her own net. She lobs it toward the front of the net. We get a whistle as a couple players end up on the ground, and that draws some ooze from the crowd. Loose ball, scooped up by Davis for Chaska. Drop it off for Trevor Kazemba. Spinning her way through the middle is Pluth. The shot that was blocked. Sanders possesses for Chaska. And another whistle as Sanders was thinking about making a drive. 15-18 and counting to play in regulation. The Hawks up by 10 at 14-4. Like I said, the wind has picked up as the game has moved along. Starting to make a little bit more of an impact on the field. With the Hawks up by 10 with under 15 minutes to play. Shot could be able to advance it into the front of the field. Martin. She's met in front of the net by Hobbin. Melissa Mulcahy sets up with it for Shakopee. Brooke. Sabres will work it back around the Chaska net. Good defense from the Hawks as they force the Sabres have to back out and settle. Gerard whips one wide of the net. Shot off the crossbar. It was a great setup by the Sabres, but the shot just hit the crossbar. Hawks trying to clear. They'll be able to do so. They work it into the Shakopee side of the field. Carried around the net by Hawley. Ball knocked high in the air on the far side. And here come the Sabres across midfield with it. Prahl with it. Prahl trying to drive through the middle. Good defense again from the Hawks as Prahl forced to just carry it around the net. Prahl again met. The foul called. 12 minutes left to play in regulation. The Hawks 14 and Shakopee 4. Shot, the rebound, the garbage score for Shakopee. Off the rebound. Brook picks up the goal. It's 14-5. Face-off still being battled for at midfield and controlled eventually by Lacrosse. Lacrosse carries it into the offensive zone as she's fouled. Sanders with a shot that goes just wide. Shakopee will quickly work the ball into the front end of the field. Prahl drops it off for a shot saved by Jareel. Next telecast of Chaska Girls Lacrosse 10 days from now on Tuesday, April 27th, when the Hawks host Orono here on CHBN. Sanders works it into the Shakopee end. Under 10 minutes left to play in regulation. It's Jose will drop it off. Lacrosse driving toward the net. Ball ends up loose in front, still being battled for. Scooped up by the Sabres, but a whistle. Sounded like a whistle, but they play on. Shakopee's pass into the front and intercepted by Van Epps. Jost with it. Jost trying to center it. Lob pass ahead for Shakopee as they control. Martin will try to work it ahead. Taken away by the Hawks. Centering pass out of reach. 8:20 left to play in regulation. The Hawks leading by 9 at 14-5. Shakopee on the far side with it in their own zone. Backwards pass out of reach, and that'll allow the Hawks to gain the offensive attack. Loose ball in the middle of the field. Scooped up again, though, by the Hawks as it's worked in along the near side by Hawley. Loose ball comes into the corner on the near side. Do we get a whistle with 7 minutes to play in regulation? The Hawks up by 9 at 14-5. Hawks able to maintain possession of the ball with Davis. Back up into the far side corner. The Sabres will work from deep in their own end. As we come down to 6 minutes left to play, the Hawks leading by 9 at 14-5. Sabres quickly advance toward midfield. Lobbed ahead for Prahl. Prahl driven around the net. Centering feed out of reach as it's loose. Able to be controlled, though, by Brook for Shakopee. The Sabres will settle. Prahl works her way into the middle of the field. Then backs out, gives off for Brook. Brook trying to drive, forced to back out. Under 5 minutes left to play. Hayer. Taken away nicely by the Hawks. They will work it toward midfield. Lobbed over toward the near side for Davis, but out of bounds. Come down toward 4 minutes left to play in the game. The Hawks up by 9 at 14-5. Shakopee works into the offensive zone with Parker. Parker gets it off toward the far side. Shot saved by Jareel. She deflects it wide of the net. We come down to 3 minutes left to play in regulation. The Hawks leading by 9. As the Sabres will set up behind their own net, or excuse me, behind the Chaska net. Brooke forced to back out. Jareel ends up with the ball. And the Hawks will work it out of their defensive zone. They will be able to clear. It's Batchelor drops it behind her. Two minutes left to play in regulation. The Hawks 14, the Sabres 5. Lacrosse racing toward the net. Drops one just wide. Then it's a back with Lacrosse. Their shot again goes wide. Parker trying to get it out, but her clear intercepted by Sanders. Sanders centered, and a hard foul will send Lacrosse to the turf. Quick shot by Lacrosse. Lacrosse makes it a 10-goal game at 15-5. Again, our next telecast of Chaska Girls Lacrosse 10 days from now on April 27th. That's a Tuesday when the Hawks will host the Orono Spartans. I just want to thank our sponsor, the Bob Pike Group, for graciously helping bring you coverage on CHBN today. The Hawks able to push the face off ahead. Sanders spins in. Sanders with a shot blocked. So we're under 50 seconds left to play. 30 seconds left. Over to Davis. Davis, who scored that first half goal as time was expiring. The Hawks win their home opener. They will rebound from the tough loss against the Red Knights as they got out to a 7-0 lead, never looked back. They defeat Shakopee by a final score of 15-5. Thanks to everybody for tuning in. You're on CHBN today. Thank you to the Bob Pike Group. For Brett, this has been Patrick Lulia. So glad you joined us today from Chaska. The final score one more time. Chaska 15, Shakopee 5. We will see you on April 27th when the Hawks host Orono. Until then, we will catch you soon from a field near you.
The Bob Pike Group explains creative training techniques. Meet Kim, a corporate trainer. She constantly feels pressure to cover more content in less time. Her participants rarely get a chance to apply what they learned and aren't involved in the module. Most of what's taught is not caught, and Kim's team is slow to change. Lucky for Kim, the Bob Pike Group can help make her training participant-centered. They model creative training techniques that increase buy-in and engagement. This participant-centered approach helps Kim move away from lecture and focus on group interaction and learning activities. Following this method is the best way for adult learners to retain knowledge, leading to fewer costly errors, injuries at work, and reduced training time. Experience participant-centered training as it's modeled to you at the Bob Pike Group, and change the way you train forever.